Claire Matthews was the kind of person people described as steady, dependable, and bright. At 29, she had already built a promising career in marketing at a leading agency in Cedar City, a bustling urban hub known for its tech startups and vibrant nightlife. She was independent, outgoing, and meticulous, traits that earned her respect among colleagues and friends alike. On the evening of Friday, October 29th, Claire attended a company event at a well-known bar in downtown Cedar City. The bar, The Lantern, was a popular gathering spot for young professionals after long work weeks. It was dimly lit with warm amber lighting, the hum of soft jazz mixing with lively conversations and clinking glasses. Claire arrived around 7:30 p.m., dressed in a deep green blouse and black slacks, her long brown hair pulled loosely back. She greeted her coworkers with warm smiles, joining in conversations about upcoming campaigns and weekend plans. The night unfolded much like any other: laughter, casual networking, and the occasional toast. At 10:45 p.m., Claire excused herself briefly to make a phone call outside. The chill of the autumn air brushed her cheeks as she stepped onto the sidewalk, the scent of wet leaves in the breeze. The call was to her best friend, Emily, confirming plans to meet the following Sunday for brunch. Returning inside, Claire ordered a non-alcoholic cocktail and rejoined her group. She was alert, cheerful, and attentive. When the event began winding down near midnight, Claire checked her phone and messaged Emily, "Heading out soon. Catch you Sunday." Her co-workers bid their goodbyes, some leaving ahead of her. By 11:50 p.m., Claire stepped out of the bar into the cool night, her breath visible in the cold air. She opened her phone and requested a ride through her preferred ride-share app. Minutes later, a sleek black sedan pulled up to the curb. Claire glanced around the quiet street, then slid into the back seat. The door clicked shut behind her. That was the last confirmed moment anyone saw Claire Matthews. Surveillance footage from the bar's exterior captured Claire settling into the vehicle, her face calm, but focused on her phone. The driver, a man later identified as Jason Hill, started the car and pulled away from the curb at exactly 11:59 p.m. The ride was supposed to be straightforward, from the bustling downtown to Elmwood, a peaceful residential district just 5 miles away. Under normal conditions, the trip would take about 15 minutes. But something was amiss. Within minutes, the vehicle's GPS tracking signal became erratic. Gaps appeared in the data, some lasting as long as 10 minutes. The car's path deviated unexpectedly, weaving through side streets and industrial zones not along the direct route to Elmwood. Claire's phone records mirrored the confusion. Cell tower pings showed her device hopping inconsistently between towers, the last known location placing her near a dimly lit street in the old warehouse district more than 5 miles from home. At approximately 12:30 a.m., the phone's signal vanished completely. Messages sent to Claire's phone after midnight went unanswered. Calls rang through to voicemail. No activity registered on her social media accounts. The next morning, Claire's absence was glaring. She failed to show up for work. Her colleagues, initially assuming she was sick or taking a personal day, soon grew concerned when calls and texts were ignored. Emily was the first to alert Claire's family after hours of unanswered attempts to reach her. Robert and Helen Matthews, Claire's parents, were stunned by the news. Their daughter, normally punctual and communicative, had vanished without warning. By midday Saturday, Robert contacted the Cedar City Police Department to report Claire missing. Detective Laura Simmons, a seasoned investigator with a reputation for thoroughness, was assigned the case. From the outset, Simmons understood the complexity of missing person cases, especially when technology was involved. Ride-share services offered convenience, but also introduced new challenges in tracking and investigating disappearances. She began by requesting the ride-share company's data for Claire's last trip: trip request times, driver details, GPS logs, and payment records. The driver was identified as Jason Hill, a 38-year-old man with a history of working for various ride-share companies intermittently over the last 5 years. His official background check showed no major criminal convictions, but police records indicated multiple minor complaints, including aggressive driving and harassment allegations, none formally prosecuted. Detective Simmons secured a warrant to search Hill's vehicle and phone. Hill cooperated with the investigation, but appeared nervous. He recounted picking up Claire outside the Lantern at 11:57 p.m. He claimed the ride started normally. Claire was quiet and focused on her phone. According to Hill, about halfway through the trip, Claire suddenly asked to be dropped off on an unfamiliar street. She said she wanted to walk the rest of the way. Hill described the street as poorly lit and deserted, but said he obliged without questioning. Hill insisted that Claire exited his vehicle calmly and disappeared into the night. But this narrative clashed with evidence. The GPS showed no stop matching Hill's claim at any street resembling Elmwood's residential neighborhoods. Instead, the data revealed prolonged stops in Industrial District, an area characterized by abandoned warehouses, overgrown lots, and minimal foot traffic at night. Detective Simmons found Hill's accounting consistent and started interviewing witnesses along the suspected route. One resident near the warehouse district reported spotting a black sedan parked outside an old factory for nearly 20 minutes around midnight. A local security guard said he saw a woman matching Claire's description walking hurriedly down a nearby street shortly after midnight. The woman looked anxious, frequently glancing behind her as if being followed. Another witness recalled a heated argument near a gas station not far from Industrial Zone, though it was unclear if Claire was involved. None of these accounts could be definitively confirmed, but painted a troubling picture. Meanwhile, the Matthews family mobilized. They reached out to the media, shared Claire's story on social networks, and organized search parties. Emily, Claire's best friend, appeared on local news, pleading for anyone with information to come forward. Public attention focused on ride-share safety, sparking debates about driver vetting and passenger precautions. Ride-share companies pledged cooperation and began promoting safety features, including ride tracking and share your trip alerts. Weeks into the investigation, forensic teams found trace evidence near a creek in the warehouse district, a discarded glove bearing Claire's DNA, along with personal items, lipstick, sunglasses, and a charger. This discovery confirmed Claire had been in the area long after her supposed drop-off. Police intensified searches, deploying K-9 units, drones, and divers. Further background checks revealed Hill's minor offenses were part of a pattern. The police learned of previous incidents where women had complained about his aggressive or inappropriate behavior during rides. A private investigator hired by Claire's family found reports of a similar encounter months earlier where a woman had escaped a ride-share driver matching Hill's description. Police began contacting potential victims and re-examining Hill's statements. Despite growing suspicion, Claire remained missing. Hill was arrested on charges related to obstructing justice for withholding information, but not charged with a direct crime linked to Claire's disappearance due to lack of evidence. The Matthews family continued their campaign for answers, raising awareness about ride-share safety. Community members held vigils and safety workshops. Months passed with no sign of Claire. Her disappearance became a cautionary tale about trust and vulnerability in everyday life. Ride-share companies overhauled safety protocols. Detective Simmons kept the case open, holding on to hope that one day, answers would come. Claire Matthews' story remains a chilling reminder. Sometimes ordinary nights end in silence, and some questions never find closure. Detective Laura Simmons and her team pored over every shred of information to reconstruct Claire's final hours. The irregular GPS tracking from Jason Hill's ride-share vehicle was central to their inquiry. Though the official ride route from the downtown bar to Claire's apartment in Elmwood was straightforward, the GPS showed the car had taken a circuitous path. It detoured into the industrial warehouse district multiple times, and there were prolonged stops at obscure locations. Why? Simmons theorized that either the driver was intentionally trying to avoid detection, or there was a struggle that caused the car to stop unexpectedly. Meanwhile, phone records from Claire's device showed movement inconsistent with the vehicle's path. The last known cell tower ping placed her phone far from the driver's reported drop-off point. Theories surfaced. Had Claire left the car under duress and tried to escape on foot? Or had the phone been taken and used by someone else to mislead investigators? The police began canvassing the neighborhoods around the industrial district again, encouraging anyone with information to speak up. A key witness, a truck driver named Marcus, reported seeing a woman matching Claire's description near a loading dock at about 12:40 a.m. She looked disheveled and frightened, repeatedly looking over her shoulder. Marcus said he wanted to approach her but feared for his safety, noting suspicious activity nearby. Another individual, a night shift security officer named Tanya, recalled seeing a black sedan parked for an unusual length of time near an abandoned warehouse. She reported hearing raised voices but couldn't discern who was speaking. These accounts, while circumstantial, provided crucial context to the night's events, reinforcing the possibility of foul play. Forensic specialists analyzed the soil samples collected from the passenger floor of Hill's vehicle. The dirt composition was consistent with the overgrown areas near the warehouses, supporting the GPS data suggesting the car had been off main roads. More telling was the discovery of synthetic fibers on the back seat's upholstery, fibers that did not match any known items in Hill's car but resembled those found in Claire's winter coat. Claire's phone, recovered weeks later from a shallow creek, was badly damaged but still contained trace data. Cybercrime analysts painstakingly extracted fragments of recent texts, including a cryptic message sent just minutes before the ride began. "If anything happens to me, trust no one." Delving into Hill's background revealed a troubling pattern of behavior. Though never formally convicted, several women had come forward to police departments in neighboring cities reporting harassment or aggressive behavior during rides he had driven. One woman had lodged a complaint 6 months earlier, describing a harrowing experience where Hill allegedly forced her to stop at a secluded location against her wishes. She escaped and reported the incident, but the case was dropped due to lack of evidence. Simmons' team connected with those women, building a picture of Hill's modus operandi, how he isolated passengers, took detours, and exerted control over vulnerable riders. As news of Claire's disappearance and the investigation into Hill became public, the media coverage intensified. Social media platforms buzzed with discussions about rideshare safety. Hashtags like #FindClaire and #RideSafe trended locally. Community organizations organized rallies demanding stricter background checks for drivers and improved safety features on rideshare apps. Rideshare companies issued statements pledging full cooperation and outlining new safety initiatives, including mandatory real-time ride monitoring and emergency alert buttons. Despite the grim developments, the Matthews family refused to give in to despair. Robert and Helen Matthews tirelessly attended press conferences, met with law enforcement, and reached out to local officials to advocate for enhanced safety measures. Emily continued organizing search parties, using her social media presence to keep Claire's story alive. The family hired a private investigator who uncovered additional evidence pointing to Hill's involvement in other suspicious incidents. After months of investigation, sufficient evidence led to Hill's arrest. He was charged with obstruction of justice for initially withholding key information and with unlawful detainment related to Claire's disappearance. Hill pleaded not guilty, denying any involvement in harm coming to Claire. The prosecution presented a growing body of circumstantial evidence, irregular GPS data, witness testimonies, forensic findings, and Hill's pattern of aggressive behavior. Despite the charges, Claire's whereabouts remained unknown. Detective Simmons kept the case active, coordinating with national agencies and cold case units. The Matthews family continued their advocacy work, partnering with nonprofits focused on victim support and rideshare safety. Claire's disappearance remained a haunting enigma, a powerful reminder of vulnerabilities in the digital age and the real dangers lurking behind everyday conveniences. As months passed, the case against Jason, Hill slowly moved toward the courtroom. Prosecutors meticulously compiled evidence, GPS logs showing his erratic route, witness statements placing him near suspicious locations, forensic traces linking Claire to areas she shouldn't have been without assistance. The defense, meanwhile, painted Hill as a man under scrutiny for past mistakes, but innocent of any serious wrongdoing in Claire's disappearance. They argued the gaps in data could be explained by technical glitches and that Claire's last movements might have been voluntary. Detective Simmons and Claire's family followed every development closely. Though Hill was not yet charged directly with harming Claire, the obstruction and unlawful detainment charges marked a significant step forward. Claire's story had become a symbol of a larger issue, the safety of ride-share passengers across the nation. Local advocacy groups organized forums and workshops, inviting law enforcement, ride-share representatives, and victims' families to discuss preventive measures. Safety apps and technology companies launched new features aimed at providing riders more control, such as SOS buttons, real-time trip sharing, and background screening alerts. The public demand for accountability and transparency in ride-share services remained strong. Behind the headlines and legal battles, Claire's family endured profound grief. Robert and Helen Matthews spoke openly about the pain of uncertainty, the absence of closure, the constant hope tempered by despair. Emily, grappling with guilt over not accompanying Claire that night, found solace in advocacy, determined to turn tragedy into change. Their story resonated with many, sparking conversations about trust, safety, and the human cost of technological convenience. When the trial finally commenced, the courtroom was packed with media, family, friends, and members of the public. The prosecution presented a compelling narrative built on forensic evidence, witness testimonies, and digital data. They argued that Hill's evasive actions, inconsistent statements, and prior behavior patterns suggested culpability in Claire's disappearance. The defense challenged each point, emphasizing lack of direct physical evidence linking Hill to harm or disappearance. After days of testimony and deliberation, the jury delivered a mixed verdict. Hill was found guilty on charges of obstruction of justice and unlawful detainment, but acquitted of more serious allegations due to insufficient evidence. The verdict left Claire's fate unresolved, intensifying the pain for her family. Despite the outcome, the case spurred policy changes at ride-share companies and inspired legislative discussions on passenger safety. Claire Matthews' disappearance remains a haunting reminder of vulnerabilities beneath everyday routines. Her family, friends, and community have channeled their grief into advocacy, pushing for safer technologies, better driver vetting, and stronger legal protections. While answers about Claire's fate remain elusive, her story continues to inspire change and vigilance. For Robert and Helen Matthews, each day without answers was a battle against despair. The absence of Claire's presence left a silence that filled every room in their home. Her laughter, her footsteps, the small daily routines, now only memories. They struggled to hold on to hope, clinging to every new lead, every fragment of evidence, no matter how small. Their pain was a quiet, persistent ache, made heavier by the uncertainty of Claire's fate. Amid grief, the Matthews family found unexpected support. Neighbors, friends, and even strangers joined in vigils, searches, and fundraising efforts. Online communities formed around Claire's story, sharing resources about ride-share safety, survivor stories, and coping with loss. This collective response created a network of strength and solidarity, reminding the family they were not alone. Claire's disappearance sparked broader conversations about technology, safety, and trust. Ride-share companies invested in improved safety features, including mandatory check-ins, background rechecks for drivers, and in-app panic buttons. Legislators debated bills aimed at tightening regulations and ensuring accountability. Claire's story became part of a national dialogue, urging vigilance and systemic change. Detective Simmons refused to close the file. Cold case specialists joined the investigation, reviewing old evidence with fresh eyes. New forensic technologies offered hope for breakthroughs. The Matthews family remained steadfast, their resolve undimmed, demanding justice and answers. Though Claire Matthews was never found, her story left a lasting mark. Her family's courage transformed tragedy into advocacy. Communities became more aware, conversations about ride-share safety grew louder. Her name became synonymous with the call to protect the vulnerable. On anniversaries and quiet moments, those who love Claire remember her spirit, vibrant, kind, and full of life. Her story remains a poignant reminder of how fragile safety can be and the importance of never taking it for granted. Though silence surrounds her fate, the fight for truth and change continues.